Good morning. Good morning. It's Saturday. Don't ask me what the date is exactly. No balls. Go run. Go run. I'm not going to run this morning. A little on the warm side. I'm going to make you a video. I haven't made one in a few days here. Look, there's supposed to be a second pandemic. The target is 280,000 Americans. They were able to kill at least 80,000 like they wanted to in the Carolinas when they did that. You need to understand, this is warfare against us by our own government. There's a breakaway system, and they built underground, and they're prepared to go underground for the big event because they know about the big event, but they're not telling you or me about it. And anyway, they are going to go underground because they know about the Sun Nova schedule. 12,068 years. The next date is about the 16th of October, 2046. Things are going to be getting more crazy until then, more unstable. Things are going to be getting, well, it's just going to be getting weirder. Now, I think that when we talk about these things that they plan, no ball, go run. When we talk about those things that they plan, that maybe we get them to change their minds. We get them to repent of the evil they planned of. Now, before you get too pissed off, you need to understand something. They're doing their job. Their job is to hold us accountable and to sift us, to test us. So far, we're getting F's. We're all failing pretty much, far as I can see. Yeah, the guys with the little hats run the world. That's all there is to it. They run all of Western civilization. They have their people in all the positions of authority, especially on the CDC and the FDA. You know, the Center for Disease Creation and the Federal Death Administration. And you need to understand they control the banking system. They control all the institutions. They have literally stolen it all. And there's not much you can do about it, I don't think. I think the main thing you can do is be responsible for yourself. And what does that mean? You got to keep yourself in good shape and good health. It also means that you've got to groom the Holy Spirit. You've got to read the Bible and get that stuff going. Now, there's a lot of scuttlebutt about how the Bible's just 5 other religions, it was published 5 times before, and you'll hear all kinds of things about the different times that these things were published and created, and the different translations, the different effects. But the main thing is, the wholesome aspect is that by reading it, you get mostly the Spirit. Now, there are a few Bibles out there that have got problems in the translations, and they were done that way purposely. Your NIV study Bible was done by committee. There were a lot of perverts on the committees, and so they decided to write it up to soften up those harsh words of Yahweh that told us, don't dress up like a woman, whatever. Don't lay with a member of the same sex, all that shit. And right now it's Pride Month, it's June, and people are fucking burnt out on the damn gay shit. We don't want to hear about it anymore. We don't want it shoved down our throats. And I'm just so proud of the people in this country for processing things legally. Please don't get me wrong. I think if you have a family member, a daughter especially, and you get one of these illegals that go after them, man, I'll never forget the guy on live news television shot the son of a bitch that had molested his daughter or harmed his daughter right in the airport. He didn't have to pull the trigger twice. He just pulled it once. He killed him right on camera. I don't know if he found him guilty of that or not. I think that a jury should find him not guilty. Not only that, I think the average person ought to find out his address and ship him some ammunition. If he's willing to take out the trash when we don't do it ourselves. I'm so glad for the position that I'm in. I mean, it's not real great in several ways. But I wake up in the morning. I've had a good night's sleep. I've slept in relative peace. The internal turmoil in my mind is all that really does keep me up, and the stresses and strains that the dumb son of a bitches in this society put upon me. You got to understand we're all connected. Nobody's getting away with anything. And you got to understand a lot of people were from the get-go designed, predisposed Oh my God, it just shows I haven't been taking good enough care of myself. That's probably the chocolate ice cream I had last night, and I didn't feel too good this morning, so I don't think I'm going to be bothering with another one of those cups from the Big C anymore. It didn't go well. I don't know if it's because I ate too late in the evening, or it was such a wallop of sugar, which is probably what it was, is a wallop of sugar. So anyway, I tried it. It was cheap, $2, and it went down real good. It just didn't set right later. Look, we're living in a death situation, and they make fun of Catherine Austin Fitts on these things, saying, oh, she says it's a demonic, it's demons. Well, she used that as an adjective, as a descriptive adjective, but they're going to take it out of context and make it a damn noun. So she is talking quite truthfully. And the fact is, we've got good and evil in the Bible. Sometimes I think the tree of good and evil is the Bible. Now, I know that's a horrible thing to be saying and speaking out loud right here in public about it, but the fact is, there's a lot of evil in the Bible. And I know a lot of people think that, well, we don't want to read that stuff about flower pickers on the hill and love this, love that, love everybody, love everything, tolerate everything, coexist. No. You read the Bible, you're going to find out what really happened. Now, I'm not going to tell you when certain books were written, who wrote them and all that stuff. I haven't studied it that much. I'm just a Bible reader. I've had people a few years ago point me out as a prophet. Well, I appreciate the compliment. I've got some intellect about me, and I read the Bible and I pull from it. But that's what I want to be understood as. I'm just a common jackass that did jackass things that was just basically over time shaped up and put into a better place. I believe that salvation might be of the future, but I think salvation is present tense. Save me from that wretched life I've had before. Save me from all of those temptations. Save me from people with bad intentions that are just going to set me up, and I've been foolish and hoodwinked many times. So I'm still kind of, well, my mother told me I should have been, I had a middle initial G for gullible, because I was so gullible. And my mother was always lying to me anyway. So lying and manipulating. Not doing a good job of it either. And screwing things up in the family pretty badly too. But that's what happened when you put women in charge of the family. The man has to exert authority over his family. And when his wife gets in the way, acting like, well, this is my domain, you get your ass to work, this is my house, this is my children. No, man, you need to kick her ass, because she can't think straight. She's never going to be able to think straight. As my grandfather, paternal grandfather, told me, they called me Taylor, my middle name Taylor, the sooner you learn this, the better off you're going to be. Shit, I wasn't even 12 years old when he told me all women are crazy. And of course, I had the audacity to say I didn't get to finish grandma or grandmother. And he cut me off as I said, all women are crazy. And I'm like, yes, sir. Of course, it took about 60 years for that lesson to really finally settle in, and I'm not so sure I've learned it. Folks, women are going to be searching for men at this point, because they're going to be desperate, and they are dateless at this point. And the problem is that they've been misled. They've been misled badly. And so the most important word you can tell her is no. You need to set limits on her, and you need to be prepared to walk. It is basically your way or the highway. Because if she can't respect you, how the hell is she going to feel secure? If she can't respect you, how in God's name is she ever going to love you? She's not. And that's the problem, is these women think it's okay to disrespect a guy, and we're just supposed to take it. And I forgot to start the timer on my phone, and we got a couple of strange dogs. One's wandered in the park and chewing my dog out, and I don't even think this dog is half my dog's size. But they all got attitudes about them. It's not the size of the dog, it's the size of the fight in the dog. These little dogs, my dog's not aggressive at all. And I guess it's, she's bigger. They all figure she's going to beat up on them. She doesn't bother them a bit. She'd rather play with them. She'd rather submit and play to them. Go run, good girl. She's real fast. We got over the diarrhea. I had a bad bag of Fresh Pack, and when I opened it, it was a little bit different pungent, a little different smell, and I should have realized it. So we finally got over that, and we got another bag of Fresh Pack, and we're going to starting to increase the servings of that, because she's down to 52 pounds, and that's just too damn light. I'd like to get her pumped up to about 58. I wouldn't even mind if she hit 60. Well, she'll hit there sooner or later, but she got a bony butt. She wants it rubbed, and it's like, man, let's get some fat on that thing. She's beautiful. Everybody wants to pet her, but they don't ask me first. And she's so energetic, and she is actually pretty afraid. So I'm afraid as well. So I do my best to make sure that people understand, hey, she's got this incredible energy. And if you can't stand that energy, then don't interact with her, It's nice to sit out here like the old lizard I am and bask in the sun a little bit. It feels good. I was going to take a shower this morning, but I'm going to delay it because one of my female friends on Facebook, a woman who's mature, by the way, about my age, and she looks really good for being as old as this fuck is, man. She's in Florida, and she said, yeah, do your sunbathing stuff, but do not shower for at least 30 minutes afterwards because of the good chemicals it puts onto the skin and how it fights stuff. And I'm listening to these people because she's older. She's well-read. She's got knowledge. If I go to Florida, I actually would like to meet her and visit with her. Oh, I'm not expecting much to happen in that. Just the only problem with Florida now is they've come up with 3 laws so that you can't just anchor up a boat. They limit you to 2 weeks at anchor, and you have to be at least a half a mile away from any harbor or anything, which really pretty much sucks. And they also made it illegal for these harbors to lease out the balls that you attach to, the float balls, the moors. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why can't the guy pay the fee to the harbor? Why can't the harbor make the money? They're against the people living homeless, against the people living boatless. And my God, I saw this woman living on the water in a boat. It looked like she put a few boats together, like 3 houseboats together. And I don't think it was her. She was a pretty young thing. Not that young, but she was pretty. Anybody half my age is, well, they're like children to me. She gave us a tour. Man, that thing had some square footage. But I don't think it's real or she lives there. And it's like in a marshy area, so it's barely floating on some water somewhere. And I'm sure she doesn't pay any taxes. I hope they don't pay taxes on that stuff. And it didn't have any food in the refrigerator. That was the cue, the tip to me that this ain't lived in. Anyway, they're going after us. And also in Florida, you're not allowed to park freely. You're not allowed to sleep in your car overnight. That's the kind of dumbass laws that we have. I mean, I have seen people homeless, living out of their cars. Now today it's illegal for them to sleep in their cars. I remember one older woman, and I thought, my God, she's about my age. What the hell is she doing out here? And she was there every night. And I avoid the women that are by themselves. Woman's word will always be taken over a man's. And finally, after seeing her there for several evenings, I approached her. And she was giddy. She was happy. It's the first time I saw her happy. She was moving into her new apartment the next day. She was just waiting for her whatever it was to clear so she could get the apartment or they could get it ready or something like that. And she was so happy because she was not going to be sleeping upright in her little car anymore. Then I feel sorry for these people, and I got extra room, but rarely have I invited a stranger in. I did it twice and won't do it again because it's just too dangerous. But one fellow got stranded in a little town in New Mexico. Right off the I-40, he was in McDonald's. He was trying to charge his phone up on the same outlet I was trying to charge up on as well. And he missed his bus. He was headed to a funeral in Texas. Well, hell, I was going that way. And, so I offered him a ride, but I didn't tell him, you got to pass the sniff test. And the sniff test was real simple. If my dog doesn't like you, you're not getting in the car. So Diesel really liked him quite a bit. The guy kept trying to hide his money in his socks from me and all kinds of stuff. And I was buying the fuel, but he was buying some meals and stuff, which was really pretty nice. And I took him right to where he wanted to go, right near the bus station. I think he was still worried about me all that time. He was from California and a black guy. I saved his name, and I think I saved a number for him. I tried to contact him, but I never did hear from him in the future. But if I hadn't given him a ride, he'd have been on the streets in Deming, New Mexico, which is not a place you want to be on the streets at. So I gave him a ride, and I had the jackknife sofa. I slept in my bed. He's in the jackknife sofa. Yeah, it was not as comfortable as being in my rig by myself, but I had my dog with me, and he got along with the dog real good, and the dog was like super protective and a better judge of character than I did. Hell, one night there was a woman on a pallet outside behind the club at the dance, and she had herself wrapped up in sleeping bags. It was going to be cold that night. It was going to go down to freezing. And she's out there in the back where all the feral cats are at, because people would feed those damn cats out back there. And she's on a pallet, so she's not on the ground. And she's sitting up, and I'll be damned, my dog went over and made friends with her. Turns out that she was in a halfway house, and that they violated her, or she violated them. I think she missed the time to show up for curfew, and her sponsor wanted to teach her a lesson, so they wouldn't let her back in the halfway house. She had to spend the night in the street, and she was coughing. She was sick, and I'm like looking at her thinking, well, she's not much to look at. She's sick, and if she stays out in this weather, this weather it was back in COVID times, Anyway, the dog approved of her, so she spent the night on the jackknife sofa. The next morning, I'm fixing her breakfast, and she called up her sponsor, who rushed over to pick her up because of this strange man that she's been with. And I was glad that her sponsor came over right away and picked her up, and her sponsor was a real hard ass. And all I could think of is these druggies need to stay together. The sponsor's got issues and problems, because you don't leave somebody out on the street in bad weather when they're sick like that. And of course, I fed her real good, and she was, we didn't even finish all the damn breakfast. I ended up eating that beef bacon by myself, which I love, so that's okay. I guess I got a soft heart. You need to be careful, and I'm going to be careful. I'm not picking up. I picked up one guy one time. He approached me for a ride, and he basically kidnapped me for a while and had me at bay, and it was pretty dangerous. The guy was out of his head. I just won't do it anymore. I didn't have my dog with me then. But I got my dog with me now. And anyway, she's a better pick of character than I am, and she's super protective anyway. And she's so fast that if anything need to happen, it would be done. You wouldn't even see it. You'd be seeing the aftermath because she's so fast. She's so powerful. And she's not big. She's kind of tiny, actually, which is nice because if she has problems and I have to carry her, I think I can carry her. You know, my last dog was 70 pounds. I had to carry him 1.5 miles one time when the hairs on between his pads got scorched up. And she's got bigger paws than he had, and she's 20 pounds lighter. Well, not quite. Yeah, she's 20 pounds lighter, more than 20 pounds lighter. Well, they don't last long enough. We're living in a society that's controlled by demons, the demons these people conjure up and the demons they worship. And they're abiding by their directions. They're doing what they're claiming. And I'm just glad that everything is happening all at the same time. We're being threatened with nuclear annihilation, and the planet's about ready to go through another purification ritual anyway. Every 12,068 years, the sun novas. That's the beginning of the ice age. And the ice sheets come forward. And they just keep coming forward until a flick of solar material comes off that sun and licks our planet and warms it up. And that's when the great melting starts. And that's what gets repeated over and over on this planet. And if you take the number of years that they say the universe has been in existence since the Big Bang Theory, whatever, and you divide it by 12,068 years, you come up with 1,000,000 Earth ages. And I already took a walk down some giant skyway, so to speak, very much indigo, kind of a blue, purple in color, and black. And I walked down the pathway, and all these creatures were standing on pedestals above me as if they were on display, or maybe it was me that was on display, because these sons of a bitches were big and fearsome looking. They were like, the average one was 3 times my size, easy. And they had different bodies, different head shapes on them, and they were powerful looking. And all I could think of is, well, I guess this is what we actually came from. I guess these are the beings that have been on the earth before us. And so what the hell is my puny little old ass doing walking among these warrior class types? My God. Look, I don't consider Trump a total failure, but he's a weak president. I mean, he is a weak president. I don't want to see a third term. I don't like J.D. Vance all that much, and I certainly don't like what they're doing in the background. They are finalizing this dragnet, if you will, the World Wide Web, the prison system. They're finalizing that for us. And right now, Palantir out of Denver are the ones that are mapping out the Palestinians in Gaza and putting targets on the ones that they think need to be taken out based upon who knows what kind of intelligence they've collected on them. And they're sending the coordinates and the identifications to the Israeli Defense Forces. So that genocide is coming right from the heart of this country, from Palantir. And Trump likes Palantir. And Palantir is getting all of the data on all Americans. What do you think their purpose of that is for? Yeah. They're going to do their best to go underground and kill all of us on the surface as fast as they can. Why? Because they don't want competition when they finally come out of there. They don't want their future generation that emerges from those holes in the ground to deal with us. And of course, recently there was another set of scrolls found in China, and they had images on them, and I just got to see a little bit of it. It could be a hoax, but it had the Star of David with 2 intersecting triangles. It's really the Star of Remphan. They had that occult symbol there. And they also had the menorah. That's right, the menorah predates Judaism. The menorah is one of those plasma displays that will show up in our atmosphere at that time. And be glad for that, because we have screwed this planet up many times before. According to Yogi Bhajan, Siri Singh Sab, It's been destroyed and used nuclear weapons 4 times before, and we've all had to go back to being amoebas and come up through the reincarnation ladder. I don't agree with them on that, but they do have something about that. And the other thing you need to understand is that some of these Israelis are actually Hindus, practicing Hindus. David Ben-Gurion being the most famous of them. And then the Hindus are just discovering their sacred sites, the old palaces, the old temples and stuff. And there was one underground. They went down there, and there was Shiva in a space capsule shaped like a damn penis with a capsule opening up, carved in stone. Stone, rock that does not come from this planet. So these people worship the god of destruction. They worship the cycle stuff. They've got a weird religion built upon these cycles that the earth goes through. All right, I'm going to call it right now. I don't know what the hell this notice is. Talk to you soon again. May Yahweh bless.